Welcome to my show. You are listening to Soul Revolution 2020, and I'm your host, Shay Garcia, and I am the Multiverse Mystic, where I talk about human experience through a mystical spiritual lens. So, this show was supposed to be started last year in November, but, things happen and, I didn't feel it was the right time. But, finally, I'm here, and today, or this episode, I haven't really had a plan on the first episode, but I do know with everything that's going on right now, that I do have to speak on certain things, but we're going to focus today on you and what it is that we can do right now that will help us get through, I want to say the rest of the year. Let's just start with that. But I want you to stay open-minded. This show, I wanted it to be a variety of subjects, but it all leads to the same place, which is self-actualization. Now, self-actualization can mean many things in certain areas. People wear many hats. You have mothers, daughters, you have parents in certain areas of your life, your career, love, maybe some spiritual practice you have. Maybe you don't believe in any religions. The list goes on and on. But what is it that we all want? To be happy, right? And how do we do that in the healthiest way? Especially with everything that we are bombarded with in life. And I was actually thinking about this the other day, and there are some things that I believe are the symptoms and how you can tell there's something wrong, because if you're not in alignment, which just means that your soul has wants when you're born into this life, and it is connected to source, and whatever you want to call that, God, whatever religion you are, doesn't matter. Same place. We're all created by the same source. And what is it that we can do? How can we find that place where we feel safe enough to express ourselves? Because everybody and their dog has their opinion on everything and what you're doing, and if you're doing it right or wrong, if you're bad or good, everything. So how do we find the courage to actually be our authentic, genuine self? And symptoms occur when we're not aligned with our soul desires, our purpose here. And we get bombarded, like I said, with day-to-day life. You're born into this world, regardless of how you're brought up, it's all the same. You go to school, you learn so that you can get a job and work, pay bills, start your own family, and then the process goes over and over and over again through many lifetimes and through your heritage, family lines. But I know there's a lot of people out there that are just like me, that when you were younger, you knew that the world was not quite what it seems. There's this feeling in your gut that tells you this is not the way it's supposed to be. There's something wrong with this place. But you didn't know. You didn't know what it was. So you just went along in your day-to-day activities, going to school, dealing with things, people, your parents telling you. In my case, I had fairly strict parents, and my mother was raised Catholic, so looks mattered. What people thought mattered. The Catholic religion is very strict, and they tell you about the 10 Commandments and things that you're allowed to do and things you're not allowed to do. And I mean, in my perspective, I wasn't really allowed to have my own opinions, let's just say that. When you're a kid, adults tell you what to do, and you just do it. And in school, the same thing. Teachers telling you what to do, and you just do it. You're expected to do it. Just follow the rules. Just do what we tell you. And even in adulthood. But what I'm trying to get at is, like I said, not everybody, but there's a lot of people out there that have it in their gut that something isn't right. Well, that happens also when you're not aligned with your soul purpose. And that's where your thinking and your head gets in the way. And you let your head lead you. But we're programmed from the beginning, since we're born, by our environment. And when you're young, you're a sponge. When you're born up to, I think they say 6 years old, you're basically like a computer. You're just absorbing all the information like a computer program. It's just, your environment is the program. And wherever you're at, whoever you're around, from the age of, being born to the age of 6, you just absorb everything around you. And that not only includes the physical, what you hear and see, but also, I believe, the intuitive side. Because we are all energy. Believe it or not, science backs it up. We are energy. And in a spiritual sense, things happen that we can't explain. Miracles, healings, and having psychic abilities, ESP, just knowing things before they happen. And our intuition, we pick up on that, especially when we're little kids. That's when we're, the closestly connected to God or source, whatever you want to call it. And kids are very intuitive. They know things. They can feel things, not just see, or they can feel the tone in somebody's voice. They can feel the vibes. But as a computer, in that reference, what they pick up, whether it's good or bad, they pick it up and they internalize it. So let's say you grew up with parents that fought a lot and argued, and a lot of that you picked up. And in psychology, they do teach you that kids internalize things, and no matter what, any arguments you have around a kid, they're going to make it their fault. And they're going to grow up thinking that there's something wrong with them. I mean, you can look it up. You can do your own research. You don't have to believe me, but that's the gift of free will, You can go do your own research and look for your own truth, but the truth is out there. Just need to look for it and find it. But to continue on with what I was saying, your brain is a computer. And so all the information is picked up. And the example that I give for, having parents that argued a lot. Little kids don't understand. They're more intuitive, but they're more in the feelings and their emotions. The brain hasn't caught up with that part of their body yet, so they don't think logically. And so when they internalize it, like I said, they end up having child traumas from either being abused, being around people that are abusing each other, physical abuse, emotional abuse, all of that is it's a big part of your life, especially if you don't understand the connection of your childhood and how that affects you in your future as an adult. You don't know, and then you wonder what's wrong with me, or what's going on in my life. Why doesn't anything ever go right, or why can't I find somebody, that I can build a life with? Why isn't my career going the way I want it? Why? Just question after question of why things don't go right. And if you haven't healed that part of you, if you haven't asked the questions and gone internally to try and figure these things out and face them, face your fears, face the issues that cause you, discomfort. I think all the relationships that we have in our life are put in front of us so that we can confront our past. Because think about it, the relationships that you have and the fights or arguments that you have, it's because of your triggers. And that stems, I believe, from either previous lifetimes you've lived or your childhood, things that had happened then that you thought you dealt with, but you didn't really deal with. And so other people trigger you, and it's not from the actual present of what's going on, but it stems from the past beliefs we've had, and that interferes with our present relationships that we have and our present beliefs. And I kind of look at it like this, and you can look at it different ways. I know some people think, well, this is a spiritual world we live in. It may be, we come down from heaven, or however you want to believe that side of things spiritually, and we're born in this body. And if we're good and we follow, universal law, but, religions, depending on which one you follow. If I follow these certain rules, then, and I show forgiveness, I can be saved. My soul will be saved, or I'll go to heaven. And there are some people that think, well, this isn't real. This is a matrix. And that part of it. But I think any way you want to look at it, it's true, because belief is very powerful. Your mind is very powerful. And let's say this is the matrix. How do you hack the matrix? And I believe that beliefs allow you to change your reality. If your beliefs are distorted, then so will your reality. If you change your beliefs, and you will change, and then you will change your reality. But first, you must change your perception. In other words, by looking at things from different perspectives. This allows you to see things you didn't see before. Just like when you watch a movie, you watch a movie again and you saw things, wait a minute, I didn't see that the first time I saw it, first time I saw the movie. You missed it, right? So I believe there's things that we all miss because of our beliefs. like putting ourselves in other people's shoes. That's trying to see it from their perspective. But when you see things you didn't see before, your perception will forever be changed. And in turn, your beliefs will also change. Because once your perception changes, it doesn't change back. I mean, unless you're willfully doing that. I mean, you can see things that you didn't want to see, but you can't unsee what you saw. And that's how perception works. Once your perception is changed, it's changed forever. So let's say the matrix or the universe will match the energy you embody. So if you want a great job but don't believe you will ever get it, then you won't. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Your belief has to match what your desire is. Not just for a minute, but 24/7. So it takes practice. You can't just say it one time or believe it for 2 seconds and, oh God, I don't have to worry about it anymore. That's not how it works. And you have to stop contradicting yourself. Saying one thing but doing another. That's where it also gets you into trouble. Your actions must always match your thoughts and your words. Creation starts in the mind and heart. That is the key. That's the magic. Imagine what you want and back it up with emotion. Then take action. Write it down, draw a painting, research, take whatever action you can. And be consistent. Work a little every day on your dream or idea, no matter how big or small it is. And so how do I attract what I want? By doing the things that you love, things that make you happy, things that bring you joy. More joy, attracts more joy. And some other things that I did want to talk about is, I do some channeling when I write. I meditate and I get visions. I've been studying this for a couple of years, as well as tarot. And I can talk about my story on that and how I got started in tarot a couple of years ago. I might do that here in a minute. Let's see. I did a tarot reading, but I wanted to talk about this because of the message. And I know everybody's heard about the Evergreen ship and being stuck in the Suez Canal. I wanted to do a tarot reading because I was like, what's the purpose of this? Why is this ship on the world stage where everybody's watching? Like, what message is God or Source want to tell us by this? Or what can we learn from this? And basically I got the need to question our beliefs and whether they are helping or hurting us. The challenge is not willing to see through any illusions we may have that is affecting our ability to apply the knowledge we gain, and thus turning it into wisdom. So we learn by conflict and by faith together. The choices we have made in the past determine what we will face in the future. And by taking responsibility for our choices and trusting our own ability to know intuitively what choice is best for us, we are not only empowering ourselves, but also learn to utilize both emotional and intellectual energy in a balanced, productive, and humane way that benefits all, the whole collective. Being shown the truth, being open to receive it, allows us to transform our beliefs. So having an open mind is very important. And you don't have to believe everything you hear. Just be open to the possibility. That's it. So we're reborn again when we transform our beliefs. As a child, our innocence is reclaimed, And we are again able to recognize the truth of who we are and what we must do. It's getting back to that childhood innocence, that helps us. Whether that is self-actualization or collective change, we're able to utilize our knowledge, and find solutions to problems together. When we're kids, the only things that we have, or we're focused on is what? Playing. That's it, having fun. That's it, nothing else. And working together, playing together. We don't have any prejudices or hate for each other. We don't want to fight, we just want to play and be happy. I think we need to embrace that part of ourselves as adults. And we can see each other the same. Because really, duality, that's what causes conflict and separation. Polarity is just two opposites. And it's not about who's right or wrong. It's about how we live. How are we living? How do we feel about that? That's what matters. Not persecuting people and judging, and it just causes more conflict and more chaos and wars. And so this reading also, Spirit wanted to say that we're being advised to embrace nurturing of ourselves first. Because how can we help anybody if we're not taking care of ourselves? That's physically, spiritually, mentally, especially. Because it's all connected. All three are connected. And being the example of how loving yourself in a balanced, healthy way leads to healing of our outside world, our environment, those around us. Because it's just like a smile is contagious. The energy you embody is contagious everywhere you go. When you're in a loving, forgiving energy, that's contagious. People wonder, well, why are they like that? What are they doing? And then they start asking you questions. And that's leading by example, and others will come to you because they want to do that too. They want to embody that energy. I'm sure people don't want to feel, depressed and sad and scared and apathetic. People are generally, cooperative, but we have to remember and focus on what matters. And it's basic, having enough food to eat, having clothes on our backs, a home, a roof over our head, and having fun. Not hurting ourselves or others, that's it. And this idea of money being the focus of everything, it's a lie. Because I don't know if you noticed that even divorce is like 50%. Isn't that what they've come up with of divorces? Because of money. Money is the main problem. And it's actually not money that's the problem. It's your beliefs about money have to change. Money doesn't buy happiness. It buys comfort, physical comfort maybe. But getting back to the message, it's saying, remembering that hate begets more hate, violence more violence. Love always grows, always nurtures, and always heals. But without discernment and self-mastery, it too can bring imbalance and chaos. And that's the source of it, balance. Polarity, is the extremes, the two opposites. But being balanced in between that's alignment. So the balance in between two extremes of the whole brings peace, stability, and calm. And we can choose who to become. We can choose who to become every day. It's a choice we make every day, every single minute. We are given that gift, free will, to forget the conditioning of the past and choose to define ourselves by the present, now, what we're doing now. Not what we did in the past mistakes, the past experiences we've had, things that people have done to us, things we've done to others. You don't have to let that define you, because it's in the past, it's gone, it's over. You can forgive yourself and forgive, anybody that has wronged you or hurt you, because all we have is right now. We can't live in the past and we can't live in the future, because the present is what gives you insight into what your future will be. What are you doing right now? That's what's going to predict what your future is. And love can never be bought or earned. Love is a gift that is freely given by choice. You don't fall in love, you fall in worship of someone, if it is an earthly ego-based emotion. You also choose to walk together in this life, maybe short or long. A heavenly love or true love is not an emotion. It is a knowing that you and I are one. Another expression of the self, a soulmate. I am you and you are me. A soul that recognizes the other higher self in another. And I think that message, if you don't listen to any other podcast of mine, I think that would probably be the most important thing I would want everybody to remember from my messages, from the podcast that I will do in the future. And the purpose of this podcast is to help others through experiences that we've had, through my truth and what I believe. And I think I'm not the only one that believes these things, but I think doing this podcast is helping me as well. And I'm not the type to be outgoing, outspoken, out in the public eye, on stage, speaking in front of a lot of people. That's not me. But I've been called to do this, and that's what I'm gonna do. So I think I'll end this first podcast there, and hopefully you liked it. If you did, just let me know. You can go to my Instagram, Angel Star Mystic, and I also have a YouTube from the same name, Angel Star Mystic, and I do videos there. I just started doing tarot readings, just for entertainment. That's the fun part of things for tarot, but I also give collective messages, and I'll probably do other videos too. Whenever I feel the need to do one. You can follow me there, and you can also email me at angelstarmystic@protonmail.com. And please share this podcast to your friends, anyone you think might help them. Also, one of the main reasons for doing this podcast is to help other people. And I know that the past couple years have been hard, and even just listening to a podcast is probably what a lot of people are doing right now. So, I don't know, I think podcasts are great. don't know how long they'll last for, free speech and everything, but for now, I hope that this helps you, and join me for my next podcast, and I will see you soon.